Throwing is totally a mental thing. It's like when your brain just rage quits, but your hands keep playing.
What actually pushes players to start throwing? What is such amazing mechanism triggering such weird behavior?
So what do? They flip the script. Okay, if I can't control this game the right way, I'll control it the wrong way.
So you're telling me the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions, literally cannot tell the difference between being chased by a lion and having a bad game in Valorant?
Some players tie their whole self-worth to their rank. So when they start losing, it's not just a bad game, it's an attack on their entire identity.
Rowing and trolling. Hey Jin, would you like to explain the difference?
1 second you're sweating for the win, the next you're like, screw it, if I'm going down, I'm taking everyone with me.
So before we dive deep into throwing, I'd like to distinguish between two terms that often get mixed up, rowing and trolling. Hey Jin, would you like to explain the difference?
Oh yeah, people love to mesh throwing and trolling together,
Yeah.
but they're totally different flavors of disaster. I mean, let's be real, both are annoying, but for very different reasons. So throwing is when a player gives up, full mental shutdown. They decide, nope, I'm out, and start playing like they've got a personal vendetta against their own team. They might rush in solo, refuse to calm, or just start doing the dumbest possible things, like running it down mid with a shorty every round. It's like, if I can't win, then no one gets to have fun.
Sure.
They're reacting to frustration, to that feeling of losing control, and instead of fighting harder, they just collapse. Now trolling, different beast. Trolls are still playing the game, technically, but in a way that makes no sense. Imagine it's a clutch moment, and your teammate suddenly decides now is the perfect time to 360 scope or try some parkour nonsense. They're not trying to lose, they're just not taking it seriously. It's reckless, chaotic, and yeah, annoying. But the difference is, trolls are messing around because they think it's funny or they're just bored. It's like they're in their own little reality where winning isn't even the point anymore. So quick summary, throwers are like, I'm done, let's burn it all down. While trolls are like, hey, what if I played like a lunatic just for fun?
That's spot on, Hey Jin. I think this distinction is super important, especially for our listeners. As you all know, we divide our podcast into three main categories: psycho, ethic, and performance. And throwing and trolling often get tossed into the same bucket.
Yeah, but not anymore after my brilliant explanation.
Absolutely. Not anymore after Hey Jin's masterclass breakdown. But here's the thing. While trolling fits neatly into the ethic category, since it's about intentionally messing around, rowing, that one goes straight into the psycho category, right alongside tilt and other breakdowns. What's your take on that, Hey Jin?
Oh, 100%. Throwing is totally a mental thing. It's like when your brain just rage quits, but your hands keep playing. It's frustration, stress, or feeling out of control. You're not throwing for fun, you're reacting to pressure. Trolling, on the other hand, is more about choices and ethics, like whether you care about your team or just want to entertain yourself. But throwing, how can I put it? That's your brain waving a white flag. It's not about fun, it's about giving up. 1 second you're sweating for the win, the next you're like, screw it, if I'm going down, I'm taking everyone with me.
Alright, while tackling trolling is definitely an interesting topic in itself, today we're going all in on throwing. Hyejin, I know you've dug deep into this and I'm super curious. What actually pushes players to start throwing? What is such amazing mechanism triggering such weird behavior? Before the episode, you mentioned some fascinating psychological reasons. Frustration, aggressiveness, and one that really caught my attention.
Which one? Control?
No, actually it was...
You mean cognitive dissonance?
Yes, that's the one.
I mean, yeah, that one's wild.
Yejin, how about you walk us through this list of reasons I see in your notes? I know there's a lot to unpack here.
Oh yeah, let's break this down, because throwing isn't just playing bad, it's a whole psychological event. First up, the biggest one, frustration. It's like rocket fuel for throwing. I mean, imagine you're trying to open a jar, right? You twist and twist, but it won't budge. Instead of calmly figuring it out, you just slam it on the counter in pure rage. That's throwing. A player gets frustrated when the game isn't going their way. Maybe they keep losing duels, or their team is ignoring comms. That frustration builds up, and instead of trying to push through, they just go, screw it, I'm done, and start actively sabotaging. It's like, if I can't win, then no one's gonna have fun. It's pure anger spilling over into destruction. Then we have loss of control. This is when a player feels like nothing they do matters anymore. I mean, it's like being in a car where the brakes don't work. You can keep trying to steer, but at some point, you just take your hands off the wheel and let it crash. At least you decided how it ended, right? That's what's happening in their brain. They keep making the right plays, but things still go wrong. So what do? They flip the script. Okay, if I can't control this game the right way, I'll control it the wrong way. That's when you see them running it down, refusing to plant the spike, or making plays that have zero logic, because at least they are deciding how it ends. And then, your favorite, cognitive dissonance. This is where the brain straight up refuses to accept failure. I mean, you trip over absolutely nothing while walking in public and immediately look at your phone, or tie your shoelace, anything to act like it was intentional. That's cognitive dissonance. You start the game wanting to win, but when things go south, your brain goes, uh-oh, this doesn't match my expectations. That internal conflict is uncomfortable, so instead of dealing with it, you just change the narrative. You know what? I never cared about winning anyway. Throwing becomes the escape route. It's the lie people tell themselves to protect their ego. I didn't lose because I'm bad. I lost because I chose to.
Oh my goodness. These are just a few of the key triggers, but they show how much of a mental game throwing really is. It's less about Valorant itself and more about how we handle things when they start going downhill. That's fascinating. But hey Jin, let me ask you, how many throwers have you actually encountered to be able to dissect their psychology like this?
Oh, Rupert, I don't want to sound dramatic, but I mean, I can't even remember the last time I played 3 games in a row without a bottom frag deciding to just mentally check out. Either they go AFK or they've got 0 kills in 10 rounds and just start throwing utility at their own team. Like, hello?
Yeah, and the ways people throw can be pretty creative, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Throwers are like little chaos artists. You've got your classic rage quitters, the ones who just vanish mid-game, leaving everyone stranded. Then there's the Phoenix main who thinks their Molotov is a team buff, throwing it right at your feet like, you're welcome.
Let's not forget the spike hostage taker.
Yeah.
That one player who snags the spike and just never plants. They run around like it's some sacred artifact while we all scream at them. And of course, there's always the one person who thinks blasting music in voice chat is a personality trait. It's a full sabotage circus out there. I swear. Do you think Riot can ever really do something about it? Especially in pre-gold ranks, where it seems like throwing is everywhere.
Okay, so I think there's a big difference between low-level throwing and high-level sabotaging. If I were Riot, I wouldn't stress too much over that one guy who loses it for 2 or 3 games and suddenly goes rogue. Throwing is just one of Valorant's many triggers after all. Like, imagine you're in your rank up game and boom, a smurf shows up and suddenly you're staring at a nice juicy -30 RR. The game has so many ways to break people mentally, and when the pressure builds up, that's when they start throwing.
So you're saying we should have a little mercy for these players?
No. If someone gets enough reports, sure, let Riot slap them with penalties. But what I'd really crack down on is the pre-intentional throwers, especially the ones who queue up together to sabotage on purpose. Those guys are the real problem if you want.
Maybe they are the minority?
Not sure. Or maybe yes. Serial throwers. Those who are organized up front are not as many as ragers, for instances. Yeah, you're right, in that sense. I think our audience would agree as well that sometimes it's just the matter of saying something wrong in the team and someone stops playing and throws a game on purpose.
Yeah, because in that case the logic is, because you mistreated me, I'm going to make you lose.
Exactly. Perfect example.
So, just to get this straight, Throwing as a reaction to frustration is sometimes just a human response to mental overload. But the ones who go in planning to ruin the game, that's where you draw the line?
I mean, yes.
Hey Jane, do you know why I'm totally on board with you?
Yes.
I mean, you know why?
Yes, I know why.
Why?
Because you've thrown a game yourself, haven't you?
Yeah.
But listen,
And you know how? Because I won a game as match MVP. And here's the thing, very often, when you top frag and get MVP, the matchmaking seems to want to test if you can carry an entire team on the next game.
yeah.
So they pair you with, how can I say this without getting banned from social media? Let's just say low-skill teammates. It's like playing 1v5 and suddenly my performance is a disaster. But my ego is still stuck in that MVP mindset from the last game.
Oh, that's exactly it. I mean, that's the dynamic I was talking about earlier. The conflict between your ego and reality.
Oh yeah.
When you pop off in one game, your ego gets a little boost, right? You feel like, hey, I'm unstoppable. But then the next match hits. And your teammates? Yeah, they're playing like they just installed the game 5 minutes ago. Suddenly, you're struggling and your ego is having an absolute meltdown. It's like, excuse me? I was a godlike player just one game ago. What is this nonsense? And this is where cognitive dissonance hijacks your brain. You came in thinking, I'm a carry, but the reality is telling you, nope, not today. That contradiction is uncomfortable. So instead of handling it rationally, your brain goes, well, maybe I never wanted to win anyway. Throwing becomes the mental shortcut. Because admitting you're having a bad game, that stings. But choosing to throw, that means you are in control the whole time. And boom, your ego is safe at the cost of the match.
Frustration is like a hijacker for your brain. Even if you have that moment of clarity where you're like, wait, I'm throwing, what am I doing? Why am I sabotaging the game?
Yeah.
It's almost like something inside you won't let go until the damage is done. It's like you need attention, whether it's good or bad. It doesn't even matter anymore.
Oh, that's such a perfect way to put it, Rupert. I mean, when you hit that point of frustration, your brain is basically in lockdown mode. Psychologically, it's like a feedback loop. Your emotions get so intense that your rational brain just checks out. It's like when a toddler has a meltdown because their cookie broke in half. The part of them that knows it's still a cookie, completely gone. All that matters is the rage. And in those moments, your logical brain is still there, but it's completely drowned out by your emotional need for release. That's why throwing feels weirdly satisfying in the moment, even though you know it's self-destructive. It's like hitting the self-destruct button just to prove you had the power to do it.
This is impressive, Heijin. It's so true that when emotions override your mind, you're almost just watching yourself act out, like you're trapped in your own head, unable to stop it. With all your wisdom, Heijin, what do you think could help someone escape that frustration trap?
Wisdom? Well, here's the thing. When your brain is totally locked down by emotions, there's no magical fix in that exact moment. It's like trying to put out a fire by yelling at it. It does not work. The only real way to stop it is either before or after the frustration hits. Step 1. If you feel frustration creeping in, just quit. Seriously, leave the chair. Get up, stretch, grab a snack, anything to break the loop. Because if you jump into another game right after a bad loss, you're asking for disaster. It's like stacking dynamite. Sooner or later, boom. Step 2. Start the game with the right mindset. I mean, don't just queue up thinking, ugh, let's see how bad my teammates are this time. Enter a game thinking, I'm about to spend 40 minutes with 4 random humans. This is gonna be fun. Because if you expect frustration, it's already waiting for you. Honestly, a huge number of lost streaks could be avoided if people just took breaks instead of rage queuing. You know how kids throw tantrums when they don't get what they want? It's kinda like that. People jumping into another match before their brain has cooled off.
Wait, Eugene, do you have a past as a thrower? Because damn, you know way too much about this.
I wouldn't say I have a past as a thrower, but yeah, I mean, I've definitely hit that I give up moment before. Who hasn't, right?
Let's be real, everyone has had that moment where they've checked out of a game. Especially when someone starts a surrender vote and for some reason one person declines, like, why are we still here?
Exactly. But let's be clear. I have never gone into a game with the intent to make my team lose. That's a whole different level of sabotage.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
And also, you know what stopped me from throwing? Act stats. Once I realized how much it was messing up my numbers, that was it. I was done throwing. Nothing makes you rethink bad habits like seeing your stats nosedive.
I think this mental loop break is such an important concept, especially for players in the lower ranks. Everyone knows how broken those ranks are, and the fastest way out of them, patience, no matter what.
Oh, I love that. Patience no matter what. I should have said that. Can we rewind and pretend I said it?
For sure. All right, Hyejin, so looking at your notes, I see you've labeled this section as Anatomy of a Throw. I love that. It sounds so dramatic, like we're dissecting some strange creature under a microscope. But from what I can gather, this is about breaking down the exact mental process that leads a player to stop playing for the win and start playing for, well,
Yeah.
losing. Is that the idea?
Yep, you got it. I mean, we talk about throwing like it's this weird random thing. Like someone just wakes up mid-match and decides, you know what? I'm just gonna ruin this game for myself and everyone else. But the reality is, throwing is a process, not just a decision.
Sure.
And that process, it's got layers. I mean, imagine if we could pause a thrower's brain right before they make their sabotaging choice and just look inside. What we'd see is a battle, a real internal struggle between their rational mind, which knows they should keep trying, and their emotional brain, which is completely freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
And the wildest part, the emotional brain usually wins.
Oh, speaking of wild, Hyejin, I have to stop you because I just read something hilarious in your notes. So you're telling me the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions, literally cannot tell the difference between being chased by a lion and having a bad game in Valorant? Is that what we're saying? Because, I mean, that is insane.
Oh, yeah, 100%. The amygdala is kind of like that one super paranoid friend who thinks everything is a life or death situation.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't care if you are running from an actual predator or if you're just getting stumped in ranked. It just feels the threat and reacts. See, the amygdala's job is threat detection. Back in caveman days, it was super useful. You hear a rustling in the bushes, boom, your amygdala kicks in, dumps adrenaline into your system and gets you ready to fight or run. That's what kept us alive.
Sure.
But fast forward to modern times, and guess what? That same system is still running in your brain. And unfortunately, it has no idea that losing a 1v1 to a smurf isn't the same thing as being hunted for dinner. So when a game starts going really badly, the amygdala hijacks your brain. It literally overrides your logical thinking because it believes you're under attack. And when that happens, well, that's when throwing starts to make sense to the emotional brain.
That is actually kind of terrifying. And it makes me wonder, if a bad game can trigger this emotional hijack, then what exactly is the brain perceiving as a threat? What's making players freak out enough to go from I want to win to I don't even care anymore?
So many things. Let me just rapid fire through these because every thrower has their own personal nightmare. First off, there's the ego and identity threat. This one is brutal. Some players tie their whole self-worth to their rank. So when they start losing, it's not just a bad game, it's an attack on their entire identity.
By the way, I don't remember who, but there is an exciting episode in preparation exactly about the players you mentioned who are self-worth to their rank.
Yeah, I think it's Lexi stuff, but I'm not sure. But the episode is freaking dope. Anyway, let's come back to the ego and identity threat throwers. Their brain goes, wait, am I actually bad? No, I can't be bad. That doesn't make sense. You know what? I'll just throw. Then I didn't lose because I sucked. I lost because I chose to.
All right.
And then, of course, we've got the justice threat, which is my personal favorite. This is when a player feels wronged by the game. Maybe there's a smurf on the enemy team, or their teammates are completely useless, and suddenly they feel entitled to throw. It's this, well, the match was already ruined anyway, so why should I even try, kind of thinking. And I mean, it makes sense in the moment, but really, You're just making the match even worse for yourself and everyone else.
Wow. So basically, throwing is just the brain's twisted way of dealing with a bad situation. But now I have another question. Why does the brain default to throwing instead of, I don't know, recovering? Like, why don't players just push through instead of making things worse?
It all comes down to the fight or flight response. When the amygdala takes over, your brain flips into survival mode, and you usually see it go one of two ways. Some players go into fight mode. Throwing becomes a weapon. They start flaming, griefing, doing dumb plays on purpose just to make their frustration felt. Others go into flight mode, where they mentally clock out. They stop trying, mute comms, wander around, or just sit AFK because their brain's screaming, "I'm done with this."
That is, honestly, kind of mind-blowing. So when we see a thrower in our ranked games, what we're really looking at is just someone whose brain has completely short-circuited under stress.
Yep. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't excuse throwing, but at least it tries to explain why it happens. The brain is just out here trying to survive. And unfortunately, sometimes that means torching an entire game in the process.
Well, that is a horrifying yet incredibly fascinating explanation, Yejin. I feel like I need to sit with this for a second.
Take your time, Rupert.
All right, well, while my brain processes this existential crisis, let's take some questions from the chat. All right, here's a great question from Ray. Is it possible to rescue someone who's throwing?
Oh, that's a big one. I mean, in theory, sure. In practice, you better be a little saint, because this is one of the hardest things to pull off in a game. Like, let's be real. If someone has already mentally checked out and is actively sabotaging, your team is basically in a hostage situation. And you're trying to be the negotiator while still playing the game. That's ambitious.
Yeah, it's like trying to win a 1v5 while also giving a therapy session.
And here's the thing. Rescuing a thrower isn't just about calming them down. It's about convincing them they still care. And let me tell you, most throwers, they don't want to be saved. The moment someone starts throwing, they've already decided the game is a lost cause.
And at that point, the whole team sees them as the biggest threat, right?
Yes, that's the insane part. The second a player starts throwing, the team's instinct isn't to help them. It's to gang up on them like they're the final boss of the match. And honestly, I get it. A thrower is actively sabotaging something you're still trying to win. They become the symbol of everything that's wrong in that moment. The frustration, the score, the bad team coordination, it all gets projected onto them. And suddenly, it's like boom, the whole team unites, but not to win, to destroy the thrower.
That's so true. It's almost like the team just needed a clear reason to give up, and the thrower gave them one.
It's actually kind of funny when you think about it. Everyone's exhausted, the game is slipping away, and then the moment someone throws, it's like, oh, thank you. Now we can stop pretending we're still trying. It's like when a group of people wants to leave a boring party, but nobody wants to be the first one to say it. Then finally someone stands up and goes, I'm out, and suddenly everyone follows. That's what throwing does. It gives permission to stop fighting.
Okay, but let's say someone really wants to rescue a thrower. Is there any way to do it?
Well, who knows? You must be someone with strong persuasive capabilities. Let's be real, it's not impossible, but I'm not sure. I would catch them early. If they're in that phase where they're just frustrated and disengaged, but not actively running it down, you might be able to pull them back. How? By making them feel important again. Throwers check out because they feel powerless. If you can snap them back into feeling useful, you have a shot.
So like, hey man, we need your smoke here and here, or your dart, or your flash and garage, or your wall, or your...
Okay, we got it, Rupert.
This type of thing?
Right, but not in a condescending way. Like, if you're losing and they're bottom fragging, don't say, we need you, sarcastically. That'll just make it worse. Instead, find one thing they're still good at. Even if it's just throwing a smoke properly, and highlight that. Give them a mission, not pressure.
And if they're already deep into sabotage mode?
Just forget about it. Once again, I'm not a doctor, but I mean, at that point you're better off playing around them like they're a piece of bad map design. From my experience, you can't fix a thrower in full self-destruct mode. They have fully embraced the void. If you try to talk them out of it, you're just feeding them attention, and guess what? That fuels them more.
Okay, so in the end, it's possible to rescue throwers, but only if you catch them before they fully commit to the throw and try to make them work on something, correct?
Yeah, and even then it's rare. The real answer, in my opinion, is the only person you can truly rescue from a throw is yourself.
Ooh, deep. That's a line right there.
We should write that down for the episode highlights.
All right, next question from Toki. A game out of 2, you get the message report Arsova, he is trolling in the global chat. Still confusing trolling with throwing.
But I mean, do we blame them? Because at the end of the day, from the team's perspective, the effect is the same. The game is ruined and someone is to blame.
It doesn't even matter if it's trolling or throwing. Either way, that player becomes the enemy of the team.
Wow. Ewa would say, punkt.
Yeah, punkt.
But yeah, you're totally got the point. And that's what we were saying earlier. The instinct isn't to help them, it's to exclude them. And okay, I know that sounds cruel when you say it out loud, but if you play the game, you know exactly why that happens. Like, it's not just some guy playing bad. It's watching all your effort go down the drain because of one player's actions.
Right. And in that moment, you don't think, oh, let's talk them out of this. You just want them gone.
Yes, it's like this team entitlement kicks in. This unspoken agreement that we're all here suffering together, we're all here grinding, we're all pushing through this sweaty lobby, and then someone just stops playing properly? That feels like a betrayal. Because when you're still trying but someone else decides they don't care anymore, it makes you question why you're even trying in the first place. And you know what? That's exhausting. You were already playing under stress and now you have to deal with a teammate who's actively working against you? Nope. That's the breaking point for most
and that's
people.
why the report spam happens in global chat.
It's not about the exact wording, trolling versus throwing. It's about the feeling of this game was fine until you ruined it. And once a team decides that someone is the villain of the match, it's over for them. Even if they stop throwing, they've already been cast out.
So basically, throwing is like breaking a social contract.
Yes, the team contract says, we all signed up to suffer together, and then the thrower is like, nah, I'm out. And suddenly, everyone turns on them because deep down, they're thinking, damn, I kinda want to give up too, but I still have to pretend I care.
Wow, that's a crazy dynamic. So instead of motivating each other, a bad game just turns into looking for permission to stop trying?
Well, it's almost like the thrower is the one who said, I quit out loud, and everyone else resents them for it because they secretly wanted to quit too. So what do? They turn them into the villain instead.
So now instead of a team fighting to win, it's a team fighting the thrower.
That's why people spam the report button, flame in chat, and dogpile on the thrower. It's not just because they want justice. It's because they needed a reason to stop trying, and the thrower gave them one.
All right, pulling a comment from the chat. This one's from Rao. Most of the time when people say trolling, they mean someone messed up something super easy to do.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, true. Trolling is always referring to when someone mistakes something.
That's like the default word when someone fails at something basic, whiffing a free kill, forgetting the spike, and so on.
Bro, stop trolling. All right, last question for today. This one's from Ken. Hello guys, very nice episode.
Oh, thank you, Ken.
It's just a bit confusing why you seem to be recording from inside a bunker. Yeah, good catch. We absolutely are recording from inside a bunker. And I know that sounds insane, but don't worry. There's an episode coming soon that will explain who we are and what this podcast is all about.
So folks, if you want answers, stay tuned.
All right, let's stop here for today. Hejin, really thank you for the epic episode. Your research surprised me so many times today. It was absolutely stunning.
So nice pairing with you, Rupert.
Thanks everyone. See you in the next episode. And don't forget, if you're curious about our off-camera lives, follow us on Instagram. Thanks again. See you soon.